Howdy folks, I'm Brian, and here's some advice. Today's story is a bit of a doozy, so sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage of choice, and here's some advice. This story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Barring My Husband from the Bedroom Tonight? And this is from Miss Puddle Duck. So here's the situation. I'm a nurse working 50 hours a week in the pediatric ICU. Cry at least once a week because that stuff's hard, and my salary pays all of our bills. All of them. My husband is a 25-year-old male, and he has a degree, but he isn't looking for a job. He works 2 days a week at a grocery store and spends most of his time playing League of Legends. By the way, all the events in here are within COVID legislation. Today was supposed to be a good day. I had been begging my husband to swap his Saturday shift to literally anything else so that we could have a couple of days together. We haven't had a weekend together since our wedding, which was 18 months ago. Today was supposed to be our first Saturday together. We were going to go to an animal sanctuary. He starts off the day by going to breakfast with his best mate, leaving before I even wake up. I wake up around 9 and realize that he isn't home. I call. He says that he's helping his mate set up some lights and that the weather is too rainy for the animal sanctuary anyways. He gets home around 1ish, lies around, plays some video games, promising that we would cook dinner together. Leaves again at 5, helps the same mate with something else. I go grocery shopping. I don't drive because of medical issues, but I walk there and back in the rain. I get home. I realize that I left my keys inside. I call my husband, knowing that he's about 5 minutes away. He says that he'll be there in just a minute. I sit in the cold and the rain in the southern hemisphere, by the way, and 45 minutes later, I call again. He has yet to leave. He finally agrees to come and get me and let me into the house. So he drives up, presses the clicker to let me into the garage, and then leaves again. At 10 o'clock, I call to see where he's at, and his friend answers, says that he's driving out somewhere an hour away. It's 10:30. I'm going to bed. I've sent him a text that I'm upset and I don't want to speak to him tonight, and that I would rather that he left me alone. As far as I'm concerned, if he can't value me more than his best mate on the first day that he and I have shared in over a year, then he can't sleep in his own bed. By the way, his friend doesn't work, so they hang out all the time while I'm away at work. He's gonna be upset and he's gonna tell his mate that I'm being a giant bee. Anyhow, am I the jerk? Adding some info. I am 26. We weren't always like this. I don't know what changed. I'm fairly confident that he's not having an affair, and I fully on talking this through, but not right now and not at 4 a.m. Also the crying. Sick babies sometimes make me sad, and I love all my patients. That's why I cry. And I don't mean hours of sitting and crying. I mean stepping into a supply closet for a moment and crying and then getting back to work. Also, thank you for your kindness. I was expecting maybe 5 replies. I'm trying to respond as much as I can. Alright, OP, I'm gonna have to say that you're definitely not the jerk here. I think that this is a crazy situation and that your husband is being really unreasonable. He shouldn't have taken that much time to let you into the house when he was only 5 minutes away. I don't know what's up with your husband. I definitely think you should talk to him, and I know that you mentioned that you are going to. I don't know what your relationship dynamics are, and I don't know why you two are still together, to be quite frank. If he sits around, plays video games all day, and doesn't even have the courtesy to, stop what he's doing and come and let you into the house, or even, he should have been the one who bought that stuff. He shouldn't have flaked out on you. He should have been there by your side the entire day. I think you two probably at the very minimum need couple counseling. I think you two need to work through your problems and discuss why he's acting this way. This seems like a deeper issue, and it seems like this is the accumulation of problems. I think this is the accumulation of frustrations, at least on your part. He seems to be living like a fat cat here, and he's taken care of. He works 2 days a week. You're out there putting your life on the line every day, especially with the current situation that's going on. I don't know. I think that you are definitely not the jerk here. I'm going to give you a 0 out of 5, maybe a -1. I mean, you're practically a saint here. Definitely consider where your relationship is and where it's going and what you want out of your partner. And just because you've dumped a few bad years into a person doesn't necessarily mean you have to spend a lifetime of dumping bad years into someone. Again, I would try to work things out because you clearly fell in love with him and you wanted to make a life with him. it sounds like you two were happy up until recently. So maybe something has changed, and maybe there's a reason why he's acting this way. A reasonable reason. Maybe he's depressed. Maybe he has a lot of anxiety. Maybe he's afraid of catching COVID from you. I don't know. I think that those are all things that you two need to talk about and discuss and kind of try to figure out. So anyhow, good luck. I hope that he treats you better. I hope he treats you with the respect you deserve and doesn't leave you out in the rain again to suffer for 45 minutes starving because you didn't get to eat for dinner because playing video games or doing whatever stupid thing that he was going to go do was more important than you. Sorry, I really am. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Today's story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Calling Out My Former Teacher for Being Insensitive and a Hypocrite? And this is from Teacher Throw. I'm a 22-year-old female, and I used to struggle with an eating disorder, starting at age 12 and resulted in several hospitalizations and health issues that I haven't completely moved on from. It took tons of time and therapy before I finally mostly resolved my eating disorder issues. I still struggle with anxiety and depression, and I always have. This story took place many years ago at the end of 8th grade when we were all on a trip to Yosemite with lots of hiking and physical activity. Me, being 13 and extremely self-conscious, in addition to having mental health issues that I was struggling with, I decided that I would lower my calorie intake to further increase my weight loss. So, I was hiking around 10 miles a day and only eating around 1,000 calories a day, which I know isn't healthy, but keep in mind that I was a child and I had issues. A friend of mine ended up telling one of the teachers on the trip, who we'll call Miss S, because my friend was worried about me. Miss S pulled me aside and basically screamed in my face. She told me that this was not the time to diet, and that I needed to get my act together, and if she finds out that I haven't been eating, that all of my end-of-year privileges, including walking at graduation, a trip to the local theme park, and more would be gone. She also told me that she told all the other teachers on the trip, and that they would be watching me like a hawk. The whole time, she just seemed furious and angry and showed zero compassion or empathy. I was annoyed, but I tried to eat more, and a couple days later at breakfast, another teacher even mockingly said to me, "See, you're eating. They say you don't," which, in my opinion, wasn't appropriate at all. I found out the teachers, led by Miss S, had even told a few of my classmates that I was anorexic, which I found out through gossip and a bit of the mocking. I was humiliated and had an even deeper depression. I was a child who was struggling, and they responded by threatening me and making me feel even more alone and embarrassed. But eventually I left school and I'm doing much better now. I haven't thought about that story in a long time. That is, until last week when a Facebook post by Miss S went viral. Long story short, she talked about how it kills her as a teacher to see students' mental health not being taken seriously. She would never do that. That the students' safety is her top priority, blah blah blah. Lots of other BS that I never saw in the year that we spent together. It annoyed me seeing people kiss her butt, so I wrote out my story in the comments and how she made me feel even more afraid, alone, and depressed. I get an angry message from her saying, "How dare I?" Because now people are screenshotting it and her reputation is destroyed. I don't care. Everything I said was true. I'm not a fan of cancel culture or anything like that, and I fully believe that people can change, but I'm not going to let her take credit for something that she never did to help me or others. Am I a jerk? Alright, OP, that was a hard story, and I'm really sorry to hear that people mocked and ridiculed you for your mental health issues. That wasn't right, and it's a pretty bad situation. I'm glad to hear that you're doing a lot better now, and that you've worked through a lot of your issues. Your teacher deserved to be called out. I don't think that you're a jerk for that, and I think that she made a mistake, and that she also wanted to take credit for, being so virtuous. If she wasn't telling the truth, then she wasn't telling the truth. I mean, that there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She didn't make you feel safe, and instead of reaching out to you and saying, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't know that I made you feel that way," or, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I have changed a lot, and I had certain experiences that made me reflect on it, and I realized that the mental health of students was important, and so I've been an advocate for student mental health for these past few years. I'm really sorry that I hurt you," and then, post that, an apology, a public apology to you. She could have saved her reputation. But instead, she posted, "How dare you post that?" Again, I'm really sorry to hear that this situation happened, and I'm really sorry that you had some really bad teachers. I hope that she learns from this experience. All I can figure is that she was thinking that pushing you in this way was helpful instead of getting you the help that you needed. Sometimes people have this idea that you need to push people and that will make them better. That isn't necessarily the way mental health works. If you do have mental health issues, you should do your best to work on those issues. You should do a lot to help yourself. But again, there's a lot of resources out there that help people, and the reason why those resources exist is because it can be really hard to pull yourself out of those ruts, as you probably know from your personal experience. So I don't think she acted in a professional way. I don't think your teachers acted in a professional way with gossiping to students and telling them how you were anorexic. I don't think that was appropriate for any of them. Anyhow, again, take care, good luck, and I hope that everything works out for you. Today's letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for washing my boyfriend's clothes?" And this is from Enough Pressure. I'm a 22-year-old female, and my boyfriend is a 27-year-old male. He asked me to wash some of his clothes for him since I was doing laundry today. I told him to put any clothes that he wanted washed into my hamper and that I would include them in my next load. He left his wallet and a pair of pants to be washed, but I didn't notice when I was putting them into the washing machine. And I assumed that he would have checked them anyways, considering that he had already put them in my hamper. So basically, I accidentally washed his wallet. He was looking to leave the house and is notorious for misplacing his keys and wallet, and then freaks out when he can't find them, and then he wants to leave. And I couldn't find his wallet, so he starts getting angry and asking if I've seen it. I asked him maybe he left it in the pants that he asked me to wash. And he says, "You didn't check? What the hell?" And I said, "No, I don't leave my wallet in my pants, so I didn't think to check." Cue anger from him. I go and stop the wash cycle. It had been running for about 5 minutes, and I check, and lo and behold, there in his pocket was the wallet. Soaked, but luckily nothing was ruined. All of his business cards, money, ID, etc. were all fine. But he is so incredibly, seemingly irrationally angry at me, and said that I was being careless, and that I've ruined his day by accidentally washing his wallet. At first I apologized, but now I'm kind of upset that he blames me completely and tells me never to touch his clothes again. Let's not talk about this because I'm too mad to speak to you, etc. I feel like I made an honest mistake, and quite frankly, I'm angry now that he's making such a big deal out of it. He's stomping around the house like a toddler right now, slamming doors because he doesn't get to go to the gun show like he wanted to. With a wet wallet? None of his cash that he set aside to purchase a gun was even in the wallet. So it's all dry, he could still purchase a gun. Anyway, I want to know if I'm being biased, and if I really did do something wrong by not checking his pants, and even giving him some sass by saying, "I don't leave my wallet in my pockets." Am I a jerk? Alright, OP, you're not a jerk here, and your boyfriend is a scary person. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm going to read this first comment here, and this sums up basically what I feel. Not the jerk, this is actually a little scary. He's both throwing a temper tantrum and trying to buy a gun? Yeah, and that was from Dazed and Confused. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there, Dazed and Confused. This is bananas. Your boyfriend is throwing a temper tantrum because his wallet was wet? I've washed my wallet before. I was unhappy, but I didn't throw a temper tantrum about it. It doesn't even ruin a day. It's like, oh, I washed my wallet. Oh well, I guess I have to let it sit and dry. If he had money, then he could still go to the gun show and he could still do whatever he wanted to do. You didn't ruin his day. He ruined his day by acting like an infant. You also are probably in an abusive relationship. There are some red flags here. I know that sometimes on this subreddit, people jump to conclusions with the red flags and whatnot, but there are definitely some red flags here that I think you should consider. Maybe this is a one-time thing. Maybe this is the only time he's ever acted this way. If so, then maybe you could let him have a pass. I would really consider your boyfriend's behaviors. He could be controlling you and manipulating you. Sometimes it's very hard when you're in a relationship to see those red flags and see those signs, but even from the small glimpse that, I've given here, it really seems a little disconcerting. He asked you to do him a favor, you did him a favor, but, he didn't take the responsibility to actually, check his pockets. You check your pockets before you throw things in the wash, or they're going to get washed. This is another thing that that you kind of mentioned in the letter that is terrible at finding his stuff. My recommendation on that is something that I've done for years. I actually, when I empty out my wallet, I always put my wallet and keys and everything in one place every single day, and it lives there. So anytime I sit down, I take my wallet out and I put it in that one spot. Same thing for my keys. So every single time I leave the house or a door that I have to lock behind me, I always check my pockets to make sure I have my keys. But again, not to put too fine of a point on it, you really should consider your boyfriend's behavior. I would be wary of this whole situation with him. He seems to have some red flag behaviors. Maybe, again, you should sit down and talk to him. Anyhow, take care, good luck, and I hope that you're able to work things out with your boyfriend or find a better partner. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the story. If you did, consider giving me a thumbs up. If you didn't, consider giving me a thumbs down. I'll see you all later.